Hello and welcome back for another amazing month of gaming in 2026. Now, June was a bit of a slow month for games, but it still gave us some pretty good releases, with Gothic Remake breathing new life into a beloved cult classic, Star Fox making its debut with modern audiences on the Switch 2, and The Adventures of Elliot delivering an amazing HD 2D action RPG experience that people can't seem to get enough of. But July is here, and I hate to say it, but it looks like we have another stacked month on our hands, with the long-awaited return of an iconic pirate adventure, an incredible fighting game set in the Avatar universe, and a legendary Xbox franchise making its way to PlayStation for the very first time. So, curious what July has in store for you? Then see for yourself. These are the top 10 games that you don't want to miss out on this July. Let's kick things off with a game that folks have been waiting for a long time with Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, a full ground-up remake of the beloved 2013 pirate adventure, rebuilt from scratch with stunning modern visuals while keeping the open-world naval combat and iconic story of Edward Kenway fully intact. Now, they didn't just stop at a visual overhaul, as the team confirmed the inclusion of new story content and additional missions, which should add more depth to Edward's journey. So, get ready to set sail when Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced drops on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on July 9th. Next up, Sword Art Online fans are finally getting something special with Echoes of Aincrad, where in this game, rather than playing as Kirito or other established characters like in every other SAO game, this one drops you into the death game as your own fully custom character, navigating the floors of Aincrad with a brand new original story. The combat in this game is fully real-time with a deep weapon system, and you'll find yourself partying up with familiar faces as you continue to explore this treacherous world. So, get ready to enter the floating castle when Echoes of Aincrad launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on July 9th. Up next, we have one of the best VR series making its debut on traditional screens with Moss: The Forgotten Relic. Now, the Moss games are widely considered some of the best VR titles ever made, but a lot of people, myself included, never got the chance to actually experience them. Well, that's about to change, as Polyarch is porting both games over and combining them into one unified story, letting you play as an invisible guardian helping a tiny determined mouse named Quill through a gorgeous storybook world as you solve intricate environmental puzzles and engage in thrilling tactical combat against dangerous foes. So, get ready to embark on a tiny but mighty adventure when Moss: The Forgotten Relic launches on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 on July 16th. Now, we have one of the more creative action-adventure games of the year in Fading Echo, a game where you play as one, a young hero who can transform between human and liquid form, using that ability to fight enemies, solve puzzles, and navigate a surreal world of floating islands being torn apart by a mysterious corruption. From everything that I've seen, the concept is honestly really creative, and the traversal alone looks incredibly satisfying. So, get ready to go with the flow when Fading Echo launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on July 21st. Next up, we have Nintendo doing something a little different with our ink-spewing friends in Splatoon Raiders, a single-player focused adventure where you team up with Deep Cut to raid mysterious islands overrun by salmonid enemies. With online co-op available for up to 4 players, you and your squad will raid massive enemy fortresses, use entirely new ink mobility tools, and specialized class loadouts to paint your way through tricky platforming sections and intense boss battles. So, get ready to raid the islands when Splatoon Raiders launches exclusively on Switch 2 on July 23rd. Alright, if you are looking for something utterly insane, then look no further than Dinoblade, a game that started as a viral animation clip of a Spinosaurus pulling off sword combos has been turned into a full third-person Souls-like, where you play as a young dinosaur wielding a massive greatsword and fighting your way through rival weapon-carrying dinos across a variety of biomes. And while all that sounds absolutely insane, the demo for this game has been sitting at overwhelmingly positive on Steam, which, if anything, shows that this game is well worth keeping your eye on. So, get ready to swing that sword around when Dinoblade launches on PC on July 23rd. Now, it's time to master the elements in Avatar Legends: The Fighting Game, a 2D anime fighter that brings together characters from both The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra for an all-out brawl. With the game featuring gorgeous hand-drawn animations that stay faithful to the series and rollback netcode for flawless online play, plus full crossplay support, this is looking to be the competitive Avatar game that fans have been waiting for. So, get ready to master the elements when Avatar Legends: The Fighting Game launches on PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch 2, and Xbox Series X and S on July 23rd. Next, we have a title that is guaranteed to test your friendships with an extremely hard game. A hilarious physics-based co-op game for up to 4 players that puts you in the webbed feet of highly qualified goose parents, working together to safely carry a fragile egg home, but you'll want to be extra careful because every crack the egg takes makes it wobblier, bouncier, and harder to control, turning every small mistake into pure chaos. In this game, you'll need to communicate and coordinate to lift, toss, and navigate your precious cargo through unpredictable obstacle courses, all while doing your best to not accidentally sabotage your partner thanks to the game's intentionally clumsy mechanics. So get ready to honk your way to victory when an extremely hard game drops on PC on July 24th. Up next, we have one of the biggest releases of the month and, honestly, a monumental moment in gaming history with Halo Campaign Evolved. A ground-up remake of Halo Combat Evolved's campaign built in Unreal Engine 5 with stunning new visuals and brand new story content that expands on the original. Now, what makes this release monumental is the fact that this marks the very first time the legendary Xbox franchise is coming to PlayStation, and on day one no less, with full crossplay across all platforms. So it seems at the end of the day, the memes of Master Chief ending up on PlayStation have finally been realized. Anyways, get ready to return to where it all began when Halo Campaign Evolved launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on July 28th. And closing out the month, we have Mistfall Hunter, a third-person extraction RPG with Souls-like combat set in a dark fantasy world where you drop into corrupted zones and hopefully extract alive before the encroaching mist closes in on you. In Mistfall Hunter, you can go in solo or squad up with friends to face off against terrifying bosses and worse, real players. The game's recent beta test, outside of some network issues that it was having, was received pretty well with players praising the game's deep character builds and gorgeous atmospheric environment. So get ready to enter the mist when Mistfall Hunters launches on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on July 29th. Now, if those weren't enough for you, we do have a few honorable mentions to round out the month. Starting with DragonSword Awakening, an anime-style open-world action RPG built in Unreal Engine 5, where you recruit companions, chain spectacular tag team combos, and set out to stop a dragon that has reawakened after 60 years, coming to PC on July 22nd. Next up, we have Disgaea Mayhem, an action RPG spin-off where you take direct control of NA, a mercenary with a serious sweet tooth, as you hack through hundreds of enemies with classic Disgaea weapons and grind some numbers to absolutely absurd heights in true Disgaea fashion, which will come to PC, PS5, and Nintendo Switch on July 23rd. Then we have Gurei, a precision action game where you fight powerful kami bosses in any order you choose, steal their unique abilities upon defeat, and navigate a surreal castle caught between the human and spirit worlds, coming to PC, PS5, and Nintendo Switch consoles on July 23rd. Next, we have Kusan City of Wolves, a hardcore top-down shooter set in a rain-soaked neon city where you play as Jin, an ex-soldier fighting through 54 brutal stages to save a girl carrying a city-grade atomic weapon, coming to PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch consoles, and Xbox Series X and S on July 30th. And finally, we have The Relic First Guardian, an action RPG where every weapon and piece of armor exists only once in the world and carries its own story as you battle through 80 brutal bosses and rebuild a shattered civilization, coming to PC and PS5 on July 31st, with a Switch 2 and Xbox Series X and S version coming sometime later this year. And with that, we've wrapped up another month of games for 2026. Now, my top pick for the month is honestly tied between Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced and Halo Combat Evolved. More so because with Assassin's Creed, I loved Black Flag growing up. And I'm definitely one of those people who was very excited when we heard that there was going to be a remake for the game coming out and was waiting basically impatiently for Ubisoft to eventually do the reveal. So now that it's officially coming out, I'm actually kind of ready to jump back into that world. But then with Halo, I never got to experience the original Combat Evolved because I never owned an Xbox. I was pretty much a PlayStation boy all my life. So now that I have an opportunity to experience the original campaign, but in a remake form, yeah, pretty excited for that one too. But outside of those two, another game that I'm pretty excited for, Dinoblade. I remember seeing the original concept for that years ago, and I thought it would never happen because, of course, it was absolutely ridiculous, but it looked fun. And now seeing that they actually still ended up working on it this long, and it's now a full game, yeah, I feel like I just have to give it a try. At this point, if anything, to honor the hard work that they did this whole time. And then last game that I may want to check out would be Mistfall. The gameplay and everything that I've seen is pretty interesting. Now I just need to be able to convince my friends to actually get along with me. But now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these games are you going to be picking up for yourself this July? And if you want to see what other games have released this year, be sure to check out one of these videos right here.